Good evening. Oh, sorry. Good evening. Welcome to the Lodi Improvement Committee. I'm going to call the meeting April 14th, 2026 at, can I have a time? Oh, 6:02 p.m. Can we get a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Member Sato? There's a button on your screen to hit, so you hit your mic.
Soto here.
There you go. Member Sharma? Member Tran? Member Juralis?
Present.
Vice Chair Hare?
Here.
Chair Davis?
I'm here. Thank you. Can I call for a motion in a second? Well, it says for a roll call vote. Is that something I'm supposed to ask for a vote on? We're not voting on that. Okay. For the minutes. Can I get a second on the minutes? Is that right? Can I call for a motion on the minutes? Thank you.
I will make a motion to accept the minutes.
I second that.
Thank you, gentlemen. Item 3 here is
Chair.
comments by the public on.
Chair Davis, you still have to take a roll call for
The
the
vote.
minutes after the,
I'm sorry?
we'll still have to take a roll call vote after the motion in the second.
Yep.
Okay.
Member Sato?
Yes, aye.
If you read them and understood them, you can vote on them. If you did not read them and you don't want to vote on them, you can abstain.
I wrote, yes.
Okay? Member Juralis?
Yes.
Vice Chair Hare?
Yes.
Chair Davis?
Yes.
Thank you.
I think we're all done with the voting and the motioning. All right, we can open this up for public comment on non-agenda items. Depending on how many members of the public want to speak today, we'll have to see how much time. How many do we have signed up?
I don't have any cards at the moment. As far as,
Are there any members of the public that would wish to speak today on a non-agenda item? If you could just raise your hand.
yeah.
Okay. Seeing none, we'll go on to the presentation brought to us by Love Lodi.
Thanks, Lodi Improvement Committee, for having us here to share a little bit about Love Lodi. Looking at the committee, most of you are probably well aware of Love Lodi, but perhaps I can share a little bit about what's coming up in a couple weeks. Actually, April 25th is our 11th Love Lodi Day, our citywide volunteer day, and then I'll also share a little bit about our citywide backpack drive and back to school party that will be on July 20th. It's a little bit different this year. Usually it's been on National Night Out, but we had to make a change this year because the school district decided to start school on July 24th. And so it doesn't seem right, but nonetheless, thus it is. And so Love Lodi started in 2014. The Salvation Army, who the major at the time was Captain Martin Ross, and he had come from Modesto, and so he had seen the impact and the influence of a citywide volunteer day. Today, Love Modesto is now Love Stanislaus County, and they get thousands of people gathering on the last Saturday in April, and they volunteer, and they've seen significant change not only in the community, but the city at large, really. I think crime stats have gone down, and so it's been an incredibly huge impact. And they started that in 2014, and then it went to Pastor Glenn Barnes at the First Baptist Church, and Tara and myself, Tara, my wife, who couldn't be here tonight, we took over in 2022, and our heart and goal was to see Love Lodi expand beyond a citywide volunteer day and to see it go to citywide initiatives. And then what we've also seen in Love Lodi is that it becomes a citywide convener where we can bring businesses, nonprofits, churches, even the city, and just everyday citizens to do good. And so, for example, we were able to be at a nonprofit capacity building meeting yesterday that was put on by the Lodi Community Foundation, and just to be able to see the unity and the collaboration within the nonprofit space in our city is really something special. And I really do believe that there is a collaborative unity within our city, and programs like Love Lodi help that. And so our goal is simply we like to say Love Lodi is more than a citywide volunteer day, that we're a citywide movement championing volunteerism and doing good in our city. And so, I wish I should have turned this in, but our programs, after you can see this, I'll leave it here. But our model, as I mentioned, is Citywide Volunteer Day leads to citywide initiatives, which then gives us this kind of platform to be a citywide convener. We have programs that are on Love Lodi Day. We love our unhoused, we love our seniors, we love our city, we love our businesses, we love our churches, and we love our nonprofits. And then we do love our schools on Love Lodi Day, but we also determined that in the fall, that would be kind of our expansion of our efforts, and it would be in the fall that we love our schools. And so that actually started, I think, in the fall of 2022, where we kind of came to the knowledge that many of our schools that are Title I, they don't have parent clubs or PTOs, and when they don't have a PTO or a parent club, just some things that I know I took for granted when I was going to school or my kids went to school, they simply don't have the capacity to do that, whether it's the house system and the house shirts, or whether it's incentives for behavior or academics, they are kind of not able to do those things. And so we raised $10,000 in prizes for Lawrence Elementary, and that not only helped them in a community building event that they had at their school for bingo, but it also allowed them for almost 2 years to have prizes that they could give to incentivize academics and behavior and citizenship. And so we've really grown in that. And then we took that to Lodi Middle, same type of thing, Heritage Elementary. And so the City Council actually just gave Lisa Craig and the City Council just awarded us a grant money to continue that program that we're calling Adopt Schools Program. Adopt stands for Awareness of Needs, Donor Engagement, Opportunities to Volunteer, Project-Based Support, and Teacher Appreciation. And we kind of ran that with Lawrence and Heritage and Lodi Middle, a little bit with Lakewood, but our goal would be to see that every school is adopted by a nonprofit, a service organization, a business, to meet some of those needs, that especially for the Title I schools that don't have a really functioning parent club. And so that's kind of been our vision and where we've been taking Love Lodi. And the thing I like about Love Lodi is it really is dependent upon volunteers and those in the community submitting requests, and then we go do our network magic, or whatever you want to call it, and try to find volunteers, find donors, find sponsors, find service professionals that can offer their services to do good. Because really, I do think that in Lodi, there's a lot of people that love our city and that want to do good. So for example, on February 14th, on Valentine's Day, we did a project called Love the Grape Bowl. I'm on a committee that we're trying to really revitalize and restore the Grape Bowl and get some vision for that. And so we started off on the south hill across from Chapman, clearing that off. But it's an example of how businesses are willing to step up to the plate when you engage them. Larry's Trees offered their services for 2 days to clear all the trees on the Grape Bowl. And so we're also currently looking for a vendor to clear the ones by the main entrance as well. But we see that over and over and over again. For example, when we did the Lodi Middle Courtyard, RJQ Landscaping, they cleared they revitalized and refreshed the courtyard at Lodi Middle. And again, that stems from getting on the ground, getting on the school sites, and seeing what the reality is. We walked on, and it was honestly depressing. We walked on the Lodi Middle Courtyard, and we're like, this is not fun. And so we, again, networked, and Bob Quinzel has a huge heart for Lodi, so we asked if he'd be willing to do that on a Love Lodi Day, and he did, and it was spectacular. The year after that, we did it for Heritage Elementary School. And so we're continuing to see this. This year, it's at Nichols Elementary School. And, you know, the more and more that we're getting to some of these schools, we're realizing that they're really in some bad shape. So, for example, Nichols, they have these curtains that are hanging from the, like the multi-purpose room, and they're the old school, super heavy, and they're just kind of falling down. And they're kind of like a hazard. And so we're, again, as we're getting in there and learning about these things through our different connections and partnerships, just making awareness, right? Because I think sometimes awareness is some of the biggest thing. Because a lot of people go, well, you know, our tax dollars are paying for these things, so why aren't this and that happening? And so that's some of the things that we're discovering for Love Lodi. This particular Love Lodi, we've got about 50 projects going on. They all kind of go on April 25th. Right now, we're over 500 volunteers that are registered. We'll probably get to close to 800 is my hope. Ideally up to 1,000, but you never know how it goes in the last 2 weeks. Some of my top projects that I'm excited for this year, Salvation Army off of Lockford. They just had a recent new roof put in, but the building looks pretty worn down. And so a few community organizations are putting together a plan to paint that and re-landscape some of the front and beautify that. So really excited about that. We're doing some 3 or 4 projects at Tokay High School. We've worked with the city. They're giving us a few off of Cherokee Lane to clean up Cherokee Lane, some of the trash. Trying to think, there's some beautification going downtown. I know the Downtown Business Alliance, they are going to be stepping up and doing a project. Public Works has also given us, I think, 2 or 3 projects. Parks always gives us a few projects. We're doing a pressure washing project at Hutchins because there's some graffiti on the playground structure that Supervisor Dean actually brought to our attention, and so we were grateful for Parks Director to give us permission to clean that. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know what would benefit you guys, whether it be asking questions about Love Lodi Day or going over different projects, but I would love to continue to see if you guys identify projects that are in the wheelhouse of Love Lodi. You can always go to our website at lovelodi.org and submit projects. Any citizen, any community organization can submit projects, and we kind of run them through our test to see if it's something that we can do. And as we are continuing to grow our ability to not only find volunteers for projects, but also to fund projects, that's the fun thing, right? So we were able to work with Lodi Art Commission to get a mural at Heritage Elementary this year to honor a retired teacher. That was awesome. And so I just sat down recently with Lodi Art Commission, one of them, Nancy Mellor, about potentially doing a mural for the Lodi Police Department and also doing the Cherokee Lane substation that's pretty worn down. And so that's something exciting. She shared with us that it's about a year process, and so perhaps and hopefully that will be 2 projects that we'll get to do next year with the Lodi Arts Commission. And so, like I said, I love being kind of at the front of Love Lodi because I just get to see all of these amazing organizations and people working together and loving our city, and it really does bring joy to the heart, and I think it does make a difference in the long run. So that's all on Love Lodi Day. I will share a little bit about our upcoming backpack drive because it is a little bit different, and then open up maybe for questions if you have any. The last 2 years on National Night Out, we have given out about 3,100 backpacks at 3 different parks: Hale Park, Blakely Park, and Salis Park, I believe. Last year it was Legion instead of Salis. But this year, because the school year starts earlier, and one of our biggest pushbacks was starting to give backpacks about a week after school had started on August 5th or the first Tuesday in August, which is the National Night Out night. We got a lot of pushback, and so we decided to do it on July 20th at Hutchins Street Square, and we're going to have one big back-to-school blast. And so we're really excited about that. We usually give about 500 to 600 JanSport backpacks. We raise money for that to give to middle school and high school students because we believe that they need a quality backpack that will last them. And that's been one of our greatest joys, to see them wearing those backpacks around town or at school. And then we partner with, I think it's going to be close to 30 organizations to collect elementary backpacks. Target, Costco, are other big box stores that have donated backpacks. And so we're excited about that. And a lot of people do ask about school supplies. We have found that school supplies, they're different than when I went to school. And so they change. And especially if you're a Title I school, you actually have school supplies, but non-Title I's. Title I schools have school supplies, but non-Title I schools actually don't have funding for school supplies. And so, for example, Millswood is really close to that Title I threshold. They're about 73%, when I think it's currently about 75% to be a Title I school. So they're right on the threshold, and yet they have no funding for school supplies. And so we work with the school district. Kelly Collins is our kind of liaison, and she is the one who kind of sends out an email to the different principals to find out what type of school supplies needs those non-Title I schools need, and then we usually partner them with an organization, and then we fill those requests. We're fortunate this year that Leadership Lodi from the Chamber of Commerce has selected Love Lodi to help with this, and so we're really looking forward to Back to School Party on July 20th to being a really big hit and really knocking it out of the park. And we want to probably give away 2,000 backpacks this year at that event. And so we're looking forward to just a really great time celebrating, and it is a great partnership that we do have with Lodi Unified. And so that is what Love Lodi is currently doing. We do have a gala in October. We're actually excited about that as well. Performance artist David Garibaldi will be there, and if you not know who he is, he's performed the All-Star game. He performed for KISS and all over, and so we're excited to bring him to Lodi and to raise money for schools. And so with that, I think I've covered a lot, but I'd love to handle any questions that you may have about Love Lodi.
Well, I would really want to thank you for coming in and sharing with us, and it's really nice to have your organization in the city of Lodi, especially. I know you guys do so much, and I just really appreciate it as a resident. Seeing all the work that gets done in one day is just absolutely phenomenal, what you're able to achieve. And I guess you had mentioned, what can you do for us, but what can we do for you? We're here to serve the community, and you are a huge help in the community. If there's something that you foresee we could help with, if that's advertising, if that's just giving you mention, if you could let us know how we could promote this and get you to your goals, that would be something that we would be happy to help you with.
Yeah, any type of promotion. We have 3 Ps for our citywide volunteer day: projects, partner, and promote. And so really projects are, if you are hearing something from the community, I know at one point seniors' homes that were in shambles because they couldn't get to the yard work or something like that, that's always been a favorite project. We actually don't have any this year for that. I know we've done some mobile home parks like Casa de Lodi, and those are always been really fun. And it's not just about the day. There's been actually long-term relationships built off of the volunteer day that they go back. One really amazing story was we did this 2 years ago, and a group cleaned up his property, built relationship, and actually one of the members of the volunteers was a veteran himself, and so actually was able to help that veteran get veteran benefits, and it just became this really great relationship. And so that's, again, the power of community. So any type of projects, we would love to hear from you. If you hear anything, just submit them. Partnering with us, whether it's any type of resources or awareness of, like, I think I saw on the agenda the CDBG grant. Things like that, we'd love to know. And then just promotion on social media or anything like that is always helpful. So we would appreciate any of that.
So I have a question. So is it my understanding that July 20th is only going to be one location at Hutchins Street Square, where last year it was the 3 locations?
That is
Because I was part of one of those locations last year.
Yeah.
So,
It's only going to be one, and so it's going to be, probably over 2,000 people.
Okay.
It's going to be a pretty big event. We're looking to have live music, probably hot dogs, nachos, and have the Girl Scouts out there like always. And so it'll be the feel. So we're still looking for vendors and for other organizations to be out there. Like I know Costco and Target still want to be out there. So the only difference between having it at the 3 different parks will be, unfortunately, just the partnership with the Lodi PD and that National Night Out. And we still love National Night Out, but I do know that having 3 parks, just hearing from some of the staff, it was a lot.
okay.
It was a lot. And so I think the feedback from the city, from the school district, and just the nature of the schedule caused us to make the decision to go to the one. And so we're like living at Hutchins Street Square this year. We got Love Lodi Day, our gala, and the back to school party all at Hutchins Street Square this year.
I think it makes sense to dial it into one location for the backpacks, and I think there's plenty of opportunity to probably get into the parks and love our parks and do more of the National Night Out style events, maybe just with your organization to get in and occupy parks. I noticed that the parks that have baseball going, parks that have just any kind of like activity going on a regular routine basis, see a lot less crime and trash, and overall just receive a whole lot better positive kind of vibes into the community, and the cleanliness and safety is a lot more achieved when things are occupied.
Yeah,
So-
and I would say that, we haven't had very many parks for Love Lodi, which I think is a testament to the city. Like, the parks are looking pretty clean. I know there's some projects here or there, but, we are trying to do some cleanup projects by the Great Bowl, Chapman Field, Armory, and so we're gonna be trying to help clean up the Armory this Love Lodi Day, along with Chapman Field, and we were looking at doing something on the softball complex, but talking with parks, it seems like it's gonna be a bigger project than we can handle for this time. But that's the great thing about collaboration. It's kind of this give and take and what we can do. But the most important thing for us is that we do our job and we don't leave the city or the school district any more work, because that's not needed, so.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, maybe if you could put together an email and let us know exactly where you want us to help you. Like if you want volunteers for something, let us know. And if there's certain things you're looking to work on, or if you have interest in projects that we could possibly help with getting you into those locations, you're welcome. Yeah, it would be really helpful.
Sure, yeah, I would gladly send that email. And then you can always look on lovelodi.org at all of our, like this year, they have the 50 projects. You can see how many volunteers. And we usually send out an email to our database that highlights projects that need more volunteers. And so we could always make sure that gets to the committee.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any public comment on the presentation?
I think that possibly after hearing him speak.
Do you mind coming up to the podium so that we can get it? Thank you.
Yeah, I think after hearing him. Hello. I'm just really tall. Sorry. Hi. So after hearing him, I'm on the docket to present, but maybe with one of the issues I'm having, maybe the volunteer community could be a support in some way in terms of like safety and security and surveillance if anyone was interested in that. But again, I haven't presented yet, but I just noticed after he was talking, maybe that could be something we could work together with.
Can you elaborate a little bit what you see in that?
Yeah, well, he offered volunteers. So one of the issues I'm going to be presenting on is employee safety. And so maybe people who want to like volunteer to be extra security in the parking garage, that seems to kind of be lacking security. That could be an option, or even just, yeah, big cities, they have like volunteer programs, safety programs where people can like, I don't know, like walk people to their cars and things like that. I don't know, something like that, if people want to volunteer.
You mean instead of just on Love Lodi Day, but in general have volunteers that will
Yeah.
voluntarily work in the parking garage as security for the community?
Or in the downtown areas, in the parking lots, parking areas. It sounded like he wanted to be volunteering more and do more than just on Love Lodi Day.
Yeah,
So I figured I would just,
that's a great idea. Thank you. Any other comments from the public on the Love Lodi presentation? Okay, we're going to move on, and if you could please introduce our next presenter.
Thank you, Chair Davis. So at the request of not only a recommendation from council, but Vice Chair Hare, Olivia Miller was invited to come and present to the LIC to kind of share any concerns that she has with the downtown employee parking and receive any feedback or input from that. So with that, we'll invite Ms. Miller up to the podium.
were you able to receive the email?
Yes, I will be sharing it in just a second.
That's great. Thank you so much. Okay, hi, Improvement Council. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Right. Olivia Miller. Olivia Miller. Whenever you're ready. Okay. Hi, everybody. So I'm here. I am an employee of Downtown Lodi, and I've worked downtown on and off the last 12 years or so. I first worked at Smack Pie back in 2014. And the parking issue has been an issue even since back then. So I'll get started. So on the agenda, I have the core problem, the impact, clarification, solutions, immediate action, and long-term improvements and safety improvements. Okay, core problem. Downtown employees are dealing with two main issues: getting ticketed while we're at work and not having safe, reliable parking. And then continued. During the day, people are getting tickets because of outdated permit rules and shared parking, even while we're actively working our shifts. At night, there often isn't parking close to where we work, which means employees are walking several blocks in the dark. I personally have been harassed while walking to my car multiple times, as well as my car being broken into back in 2023 while I was working. Impact. This is causing financial stress and safety concerns for downtown employees. We've collected at this time a total of 186 signatures from employees who are dealing with these issues. I have my petition on me as well, and then there's another half of it that's online for people I wasn't able to get in touch with. Because to sidestep a little bit, I'm trying to spread the word while also not disrupting businesses, coming in, doing anything that could remotely disturb the downtown community, but also trying to, at the same time, connect and spread the word. People are getting tickets while working, which is thousands of dollars in tickets employees are paying while supporting the economy of Lodi. And then just for clarification, we're not trying to take customer parking. The front spots should be absolutely for customers. But employees also need a safe place to park, and we shouldn't be getting fined just for trying to work and support the economy of downtown. So I came and I've thought very long and hard about some solutions. Instead of just coming and complaining, I put a lot of time and effort into trying to help come up with some solutions. So some immediate, and I think that are very doable, is a simple employee parking permit system, verified through pay stubs or our employers. You can link it to our license plate, car descriptions, a visible permit, a temporary break from time limit enforcement for verified employees. And then from what I saw in the city code 1048, under City Lodi City Code section 1048, the city council has the authority to modify the parking permit system. Since these decisions are made locally right here in Lodi, we're asking you to use that authority to create a system that actually works for the employees who keep downtown running. And also, this is what I plan on presenting to city council. There's some more I'm gonna add at the end, but again, just to let you guys know. And then solutions continued. So here are long-term improvements. Designated employee parking areas in multiple lots, and it's fair to pay for affordable parking permits that are employee dedicated. But the issue is, in the parking permit areas, it's also shared with 3-hour parking, which I'm not sure why that ever was a thing. I don't know why someone would pay for a permit to share it with someone who can also park for free for 3 hours. And then reevaluate parking availability, especially with the 3rd floor of the parking garage closed off. That takes a huge chunk of available spaces away. And I don't know, maybe that's something we can look into. Maybe since it's closed off, maybe we can make that employee parking. It's not being used anyway. And also with the patrolling in the parking garage, while getting signatures, I've spoken to 2 different women who have found men under their cars in the parking garage with 2 layers open, supposedly patrolled as well. So again, just really concerning. And then updated and sensible parking permit areas. And for safety improvements, more visible security presence, better lighting in parking areas and walking routes, address safety concerns in garages and farther lots. So that's why I was thinking, you know, if we don't have the resources for the police to be more present or security or whatever the case is, maybe if there's individuals in the community who want to volunteer to help make sure members who are working for the community are getting to their cars safe and whatnot. I just thought that could be something to help. So yeah, this is what I have so far. And then I was just going to add a little more at the meeting tomorrow. Just let them know, because I spoke at a meeting last month about it. And then I was recommended to come here today, so here I am today. But you guys only meet once a month, so. And again, since I've started this, nothing has changed about employees getting ticketed. We're still getting tickets while on the clock. And honestly, it's really discouraging. And I'm not the only one who feels this way. I thought this meeting started at 7, so I told people 7 tonight. But I also let people know, and I've been spreading the word about the city council meeting tomorrow and letting people know to come up and share their stories and their experiences. But I think the ticketing can immediately stop ticketing employees who are just like currently at work at the businesses. Like I said, with the license plate, we can verify that we're at work through pay stubs, but this has been an issue for a long time, and respectfully, there's not more time to keep waiting. I don't have the financial resources. I know most people who are working downtown don't have the financial resources to be getting tickets while you're at work, especially when it's not metered or it's not like app parking. It's physical people going around ticketing your cars. So that's what is like also a hard thing. It kind of feels targeted in a way. Yeah, I guess I'll leave it open for if anyone has any questions or anything like that.
Well, I wanted to say thank you for coming and being brave and standing at the podium. Before being on the improvement committee, I also would just come to council meetings and shake in my boots.
Yeah.
So I know that it takes a lot and it takes a lot of frustration to actually come through and really try to find a solution. And on behalf of the downtown business, your colleagues, it's really brave of you to come down. I think the goal of the city council is to have the community come to us as a liaison between the council and the public, so that you guys have kind of a less formal place to come, even though this feels very formal.
Yeah.
It's much less formal than the council, and so the goal overall is to get the public to come through us first and then move it to city council. But going straight to council is also acceptable. And ultimately, they're going to be the ones that can implement the changes. However, we can assist. We are an advisory committee. And hearing your concerns pulls on my heartstrings, because I've been in a fighting position for things that I've really been discouraged about myself, and that's the nature of, you know, bureaucracy and all what have you. But your concerns sound very legitimate, and the way that this process will go, it's going to take quite a bit of time for things to get really changed. And I feel like you need something a little quicker. And I mean, ultimately, I think pushing council for that, so at least to reduce or to stop the ticketing and have some kind of immediate, you know, this is just my own personal opinion.
Absolutely, yeah.
But some kind of method in the right now where you can come up with a system like, I'm an employee, while this is in the works, can we come up and maybe make that suggestion to them? You know, sometimes you just have to keep spelling things out the way you want it, and you get enough. It sounds like you've done your due diligence. You have a petition. You have a lot of people backing this, and that's really what it takes to get things moving sometimes, because there's so much. The books get really thick with things that become necessary to take care of in a city, and, you know, advocating for what you need is really important. So anything we can do, we will try to help you. We can move this, we can sit as a committee, we can go sit on, we can go meet with the chamber and talk to Downtown Business Alliance and express your concerns with our committee kind of backing the concern. And we can talk amongst ourselves and decide how we want to do that, and what parts of it we want to take on or can legally even take on. But in the meantime, I think really going to that council meeting tomorrow and reiterating your concern, since you've brought it to them first, and this is a immediate concern. It's costing you money, and it does not do service to the people that are creating the downtown business. And it's going to affect, it probably does affect a lot of the public, because I like to go shopping downtown, and if no one wants to work downtown, then we're going to have no downtown to come to, because we need employees that want to be there. So I really appreciate you bringing this. Sometimes things are just old, and we need fresh faces like you to come and bring this to light. So thank you for coming, and if you have any suggestions for our committee within our realm, I think we're happy to assist.
Thank you.
We're volunteers.
Yeah.
We're here to help the community however
Yeah.
we can, so.
Thank you so
just-
much.
Yeah, thank you.
I really appreciate that, and that's amazing feedback, and that's really all I'm trying to do. When I got my ticket, obviously I'm really mad at first, but I really love Lodi. I've grown up here. I'm a server and bartender, so my job is connecting with people, and to feel the support of the community, wanting us to, be happy, be safe, feel okay, feel like we can support the economy is, it's really nice to hear, and I really appreciate you guys just listening and being supportive and everything like that. And also I understand too that how hard that must be to be on even the volunteer committee right now, but as well as the city council. And I know there's just so much you guys have on your plates and everything, but yeah, I'm just trying to go about it the right way, respectfully, but get attention. And there was an article put out in the Lodi News Centennial about the issue as well, so it's gotten a little bit of news traction as well too. But yeah, any advice you have on how I can approach this? I was going to go with this and maybe just add a little bit more on, just reiterate, like you said, that this isn't the first time I've addressed the issue. And yeah, I also just, I made a little flyer. I've been posting online and going around, just really asking people to show up tomorrow and just also share their stories so you guys can see. I do have signatures, but also physically being in here and just seeing the people, I think will help as well. But yeah, anything you guys are willing to do, talk to the Chamber of Commerce. And it's also been really lovely to get to go around and just meet all these people I've never talked to before, and all these amazing business owners. And almost everyone has been so supportive. The only little bit of pushback I've gotten is from business owners kind of concerned about us trying to take the front spots, which I just wanted to clarify. As I agree, someone who works downtown, I want business. I want my job to be busy, and I want, so yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. It should be, we want people to come and visit, so they should have parking that's available, and then we can have safe parking close by. But yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Something I wanted to say, parking spaces, real estate for cars is going to become smaller and smaller. So even if there was, and permitted parking sounds like a solution for the interim, potentially, but the amount of space and like literal square footage that's available for parking downtown is pretty minimal.
Yeah, and the WOW Museum too, that's a concern of mine. So we're gonna make this big expansion. That's gonna take up more parking spots, or we're gonna need more parking, and so that's where I'm concerned too.
So I have a suggestion.
Oh, yeah.
So I know that the motion or the movement for downtown is to bring in more walkability, bikeability,
Yeah,
and things like that. And it's a healthier thing to do if you're able physically to do those things, or if the weather permits. However, a suggestion of mine might be to create an incentivization to those who want to bus or shuttle to work. If there was maybe something that the employer could provide free transit or discounted transit, and make sure that those transit routes are operating during business hours for those employees that want to take advantage. Gas is not getting any cheaper either. So say you live, everything's about 10 minutes one way or another in Lodi. If you live in Lodi, maybe there could be an incentivization to create some sort of cheap or free transit if you're an employee downtown, just so that we can keep our downtown employees happy and in business.
I love that idea. I would love to. I don't know how willing the business owners are going to be willing to do that. But I would love to bring that to their attention. And
I would go straight to transportation,
transportation. Okay.
go to transportation and offer that suggestion, because then they can pull their weight with that suggestion.
Cool, okay.
And I would also go to the Board of Police and talk to them directly about your concerns and what, they have partners which are volunteers. However, maybe they know alternative options, or maybe they've thought about it and can come up with something. But city council's great. You can tell them your issues, and then it'll happen as it happens, and it usually takes quite a bit of time, depending. Sometimes things are instant and things get fixed, but
Yeah.
from my experience, that getting things really to an end point, it could take some time. And so I've found, for me personally, going into individual different parts of the organizations to all come together can help put a little weight behind it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I personally believe that something that can be immediate is stopping writing tickets for employees. So I'm just really trying to reiterate that at the meeting tomorrow, because that's something that can be stopped immediately. We can turn our pay stubs in Monday, our license plates in Monday. And respectfully, I can only bring so much to city council, so I'm just really hoping I just can give them as much as I can, and hopefully they'll take it with them. But again, yeah, I figure like parking permits, figuring out all that. And I've spent time looking at the layouts of downtown. It's kind of confusing to try to read and figure out the certain areas, but
You can request to be put on the agenda as well.
for city council.
Like you came and did a presentation to us and you're on the agenda, you can request for this item to be put on city council agenda, and we potentially could help move it to that. It just would take some time
Okay,
for
cool.
us to do it.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, thank you for coming, Olivia. I think the good news is that all of the solutions that you mentioned long-term are specifically addressed in our downtown-specific program, at least most of them are, which is a good thing. But the issue right now is that we need a solution for right now. And so I want you to be able to go to council with the strongest solutions possible. With your permit idea, the only issue I see with that they may argue is that there may be potential issues with employees that aren't currently working, going and parking in those spaces and utilizing the permit. That's one issue I could think of. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying that that's something that you could think about, because again, I want us to go to council with the strongest possible solutions. And Jennifer, maybe you could help with this. Council recommended that Olivia come to us. We kind of work out a solution and then come back to them. What is the process for getting this on the agenda with council? Because what I don't want to happen is Olivia keeps attending all these meetings, doing all this hard work, and she keeps getting the same answer. Oh, I'm sorry that you're dealing with this issue. It's rough, but we can't really do anything about it. And so I don't want her to leave here without an answer. And so what's the process of getting something like this on a council agenda?
So for the Lodi Improvement Committee, if you guys evaluate that you want to make a recommendation to city council, you just let staff know as a liaison that you would like to attend a future city council meeting. We usually have about a 6-week lead time, just because some items need to go through city attorney and things like that. But so if you anticipate that you want to attend a city council meeting and make a recommendation, it would be a recommendation of the committee, so it would have to be voted on at an LIC meeting so that we have consensus on the recommendation that would like to be presented to city council. So if you need to gather additional information or talk to the community or downtown businesses, anything like that, that would be information that you would want to bring to a future LIC meeting and share that, so that everybody could vote on that recommendation, and then you would just direct staff to get it onto a future council meeting as an advisory capacity. That's kind of how LIC has brought stuff to council in the past, is just gathering information and then bringing it forth.
So Olivia brought the recommendation to temporarily stop ticketing for downtown employees. Is that something that we can vote on as a committee and then bring to council, or is this something that we'd have to bring into the next meeting?
If you felt comfortable with the information that was provided today without speaking to any of the additional community members or business members or anything like that, you could absolutely vote and make a recommendation. And then you would just, we would anticipate what the next council meeting that we could present at would be, which would probably be the first meeting in June.
I do also have the petition on me. I'm sorry, I work 2 jobs, but I would have liked to ideally have a copy for everyone to have. But if you would like, I have the petition on me right now. If you'd like to look, I've had everyone sign where they work, the date. So yeah, I'm sorry. Is it okay? I didn't interrupt anyone, did I? Okay. It also sounds like, respectfully, I do get with government, things will take time. Sounds like I should probably get as many people as I can come tomorrow to really show city council this isn't something that can wait. It sounds like, respectfully, and following the code of ethics and values, obviously. But yeah, I think, and if it means I'm willing to go around to every business, collect every pay stub from everyone, every license plate, if that means that I'm helping stop. If the community or the people who are able to do these things, and I get with time and they currently have a lot on their plate, I will volunteer my own time to go around. If that's gonna help out my fellow coworkers and employees downtown, that's something I'm willing to volunteer my time to do to get the ball rolling. But yeah, thank you so much.
I'm happy with it for us to take a vote on whether or not we would like to at least, even though it might take time, say it might be a good backup plan for you in case your enormous efforts don't pay off.
I would appreciate it.
Then at least you would have that to fall back on in a couple of months that we were helping to back you in
Well,
your
yeah.
in your thing. So
And even the long term, like I said, I know that's going to be a while, and I'd be happy to continue to come and help with more solutions down the road with how that could go.
I do think it's important for you to go to that council meeting tomorrow, and depending on how we vote this evening, you can have that information to bring with you.
Okay.
And then I would definitely bring as much backing as you can and make it as loud as possible, because if this is something you really strongly feel, then this is what you need to do. And hopefully they can do something for you quicker than we can, as, but
I have a question. So you're saying you're getting ticketed, so is there certain time zones that the employees are getting ticketed? So that's what I don't understand.
Yeah,
Is there
so-
like an hour that you can't park, or what is the
It's-
variance?
It's all honestly a confusing mess, in my opinion, with the parking. It's mainly on School Street, those back parking lots that are Zone B and parking permit. So behind Oxford, it's like Zone B, and then you go into the parking spots with those lawyer offices behind there. So it's 11 to 2, like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it's
It varies.
public, or no, it's permit parking, which again, I'd stated in there, if it's permit parking, that's only permit parking, I think me and everyone else would be fine to pay that, but it's shared with public parking, so that's the issue. So it's like, why would we pay to not have guaranteed parking that's shared with public? Even just separating those two, having 2 lots parking permit, or even just like, another idea is just adding like throughout the downtown, like in the future, like just adding 1 row of spots or half a row, like 5 spots in each back parking lot, just a little bit to give like some employees, yeah. But that's another thing I think needs to be looked at just in general, because I still don't like 100% understand that. It's like permit parking and 3-hour or 3-hour parking, so.
You see, I'm not familiar with it, so that's why I was asking. So, all right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, when I was like triple making sure I'm reading it right, because I didn't want to. But yeah, I feel like that's something that hopefully the city can look into.
Yeah, quickly. Oh, yeah, I just want to say I completely appreciate you coming out and then sharing your, sharing it. As Lindsay said, it's difficult. One thing I do say is obviously with us pending on this vote, at least gives you some leeway to continue to, advocate for what you're doing as you're coming to the city council meetings over the next few weeks, or months, I should say. And then hopefully by that time, there's a little bit more clarity and brevity for us to present. So that at least gives you at least some time window if they're not, as receptive in these next meetings as they did push you over here initially. But yeah, thank you for coming out and sharing your.
Thank you so much for your time, everyone. I really appreciate the help. Thank you.
can you tell me one last thing, what would be most important to you for us to bring to council as soon as we could?
Immediate stopping, ticketing employees who are on the clock, and also the safety concerns for parking. Like I'd mentioned, I get harassed walking to my car at night. I run most of the time, which is kind of sad. And then my car's been broken into. It's when I worked at Oxford Kitchen a couple years ago, it was like 20 feet from the restaurant. My car's broken into. So just safety, a little bit more presence of security if it's available. Again, I heard the gentleman mention that he had said they wanted to do more than just on the day, right? The Love Lodi Day. So I just figured if there's someone, he mentioned veterans. If anyone wanted to offer their time to help people get to their cars safe or help with some patrolling, I know maybe resources are hard right now. I know the economy's kind of rough. So just, anyone who's willing to help. I love Lodi, and I want to do what I can to help out, not just complain and, bring up issues. I want to help support, and not just my issues, other issues that are going on in the community. So
I think there's opportunity to also make it fun. I think there could be like a dial-a-bike and, those bicycles that have benches on the back. There could be
Yes.
someone that goes around downtown and you can have them come pick you up and bring you to the lot. I don't know. I feel like there's workability.
well, and for a small business too to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, Lodi. Start
Right?
a biking chariot.
Well, actually,
Downtown.
really quick, I went to school in Chico. I forget his name, but there was a known gentleman. He had the bike carriage, and
Oh.
so many people got to the other bars or home safe and stuff like that. So I think that's a great idea. That could also open up business opportunities for others, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
So, we'll go ahead and then vote as a committee to bring the cease to ticketing.
Chair Davis, if you want to go to public comment first on this item.
Oh,
prior
I
to-
suppose I do. Is there any public comment on this? On the presented information? Any public comments? Okay, seeing no public comments, then we'll go ahead and take a vote on, and just to clarify, I want to vote to bring the cease to ticketing to city council as soon as possible.
Are we adding the employee permits to that as well, or just the ticketing?
I think that there's a lot of details to be worked out, and that the most important part of this in this moment would be to cease the ticketing, and then, but if you want to add,
My only concern is how are they going to determine who has which cars are employees' cars without some type of permit or tag or something?
I think we can make this a little bit multifaceted. I think that this could be a cease to ticketing with attention to clarification of permit parking versus public parking. And if they can't clarify that, then it needs to be addressed ASAP.
Again, anything I can volunteer. Like I said, I'll go around, I'll collect, I'll deliver the information to and from, whatever I can do to help, because I really care about my fellow downtown employees. I know we all work really hard and
Sorry.
we love
I,
it.
I think that we should just maybe vote to venture on behalf of Olivia, and then to partner with her in any way we can to assist her to get this to go through. I don't think we have the power to initiate parking permits and what have you, and that kind of stuff. I think maybe we should vote to partner with her to help her push this through in an easier way for the employees. That's my suggestion.
I hear what you're saying, but this is, in a way, this would be not partnering, but we're here to back that, and we can
Okay.
bring this to council ourselves as a backup plan. She's going to go to council tomorrow. You're going to address them with the same concerns, have more people to back you. And then what we're doing is creating a fallback so that if that doesn't get to where she wants to get it, at least what we can do is bring a vote that we are backing the cease to ticketing and clarification of permit parking options. Does that sound good? Jennifer, can you let us know if that's something we can do?
Ultimately, it's up to the LAC to vote and make a recommendation of how you would like to proceed. Again, it is just a recommendation that you would bring forth to council as an advisory committee.
And how do we go about addressing council? Do we show up to their next council meeting and do a public comment, or do we have to get on their agenda and then address this to them? Or do we do it when we do our annual? How quickly could we get to council with this request?
I don't have the schedule right in front of me as far as the submission dates for the timeline, but it would likely be the second meeting in May or the first meeting in June that we'd be able to get on if we wanted an item on there, and we'd have to request to be added on.
Okay, let's then vote for a cease to ticketing and clarification of permit versus public parking, and to be at their next meeting to help agendize this problem.
Is there a
Can I get a second?
motion?
I'll second.
Yes.
Mana, are you in?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
You want me to take the roll call vote?
Yes.
Okay. Member Sato?
Yes.
Member Juralis?
Yes.
Vice Chair Hare?
Yes.
Chair Davis?
Yes.
Thank you so much, committee members. I really, really appreciate you all. Thank you.
So we'll be at not this meeting tomorrow, but the next available meeting that we can be there. We will be addressing council with your issue. And if you could please email Jennifer with any of your, if you could PDF your,
Yeah.
sorry,
The
petition.
Yeah.
If you can get that on PDF, as well as your concerns in some sort of format that is digestible to
Absolutely.
council, and then email that to Jennifer on behalf of the improvement committee. That way we can review it before we attend, and we'll choose a couple of our members to come and speak to council on your behalf.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your work. Thank you.
And based on the LIC vote, staff will bring forth a request to be added to a future agenda added council meeting, and we'll be in contact with you guys as far as what that looks like.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, we are going to move on now to the Community Development Block Grant. If staff could please introduce that item.
Thank you, Chair Davis. So I do want to share that we did get some good news from HUD. We actually did have a slight increase from our current program year to $665,236 from $655 this program year. So it was just a little bit of an increase, which was nice based on the concerns that we were potentially anticipating earlier in the year for potential cuts to the program. So we are excited about that. So we do have evaluation of a couple of capital projects, including some alleyway projects and some community projects as well, based on our community-based organizations that submitted programs. We anticipate the annual action plan being posted here shortly. We'll make sure we email the committee so you guys can review it. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, or anything like that, just make sure that you share that with us before we make that finalization go to council for approval, which will likely also be in the June time period for that presentation, because you do get a certain statutory time that you have to present it to council at a public hearing before acceptance so that you could submit it to HUD. So ours is due by, I believe, August 16th, but we'd like to try to get in there as soon as possible, just to, so that if we have to make any modifications or anything like that, that we can. So we are excited about that change. Based on all the most recent quarterly reports from our nonprofits, everybody's meeting their objectives and their goals, and so we'll be sure to be presenting that to the Lodi Improvement Committee at a future meeting as well, so that you guys can really see what the program accomplishes throughout the years and what your vote for those public services actually brings to the community, because oftentimes it's only just under $100,000 that public services get awarded out into the community. But that often leverages additional funding out to the community. So that $100,000 often doubles or triples the funding that's going out into the community. So we'll be sure to share that information as well. Is there any questions on that information?
I don't have any questions. You're always really thorough with the CDBG information, so you're always on top of that.
I
So
appreciate
Does anyone else have any questions?
And then just Member Soto, since you are brand new, if you want any additional information on anything that we talk about tonight, feel free to reach out to myself and Carrie, and we can schedule a meeting with you to bring you up to speed on anything that you have any questions on.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Okay, now we're going to move on to our annual activity updates. Any updates from our members tonight? I have quite a few updates, so I'll just refrain until everybody's done.
Yeah, I have an update. So
It's easy, can I just interrupt just for a second? It's easier if you take them in order, that they are on the worksheet, for me to do the minutes. Just so you know.
I don't want to make your job harder, so I will try to follow the protocol.
I appreciate that.
Chair Davis, would it be okay for, under the informational updates, we do have Cynthia Marsh here to give a brief update on the downtown specific plan? If that would be appropriate?
Absolutely. That'll buy me some time as well. Thank you.
Sure. Hello. Interim Community Development Director Cynthia Marsh. I presented to your committee in September of 2025, I believe, on the downtown specific plan. It is in the winding down process, heading towards adoption. We have been working on the plan with our consultants, RRM Design Group, out of San Luis Obispo. And for the last 18 months or so, we have the final draft, which is headed hopefully for adoption to Planning Commission, scheduled for May 13th, and City Council hopefully on June 3rd. You can find the draft of the plan and all of the appendices that are attached to it on planlodi.com. At the top of the page, you can click on the downtown specific plan. There's also information on the Plan Lodi website for other planning, long-term planning initiatives, if you're interested in looking at any of those. But we're really excited about the downtown specific plan and headed towards implementation. There is a steering committee which met again yesterday. They've met several times, and we discussed implementation measures with them, which are, in I believe, Chapter 9, if I recall, towards the end of the downtown specific plan. So if you'd like to check those out, go to planlodi.com and you can read the plan there. There's a lot of information in the plan and then implementation measures that will be coming forward in the coming months. It's going to really be a team effort to implement the plan. So we're really excited about everything that's coming down the pipeline, but it'll be a lift. We've kind of gotten to the end of this heavy lift and, over the past almost 2 years. And so the next will be getting those implementation measures kind of going. And it will take time. This is a long-range plan. Again, we're looking, like 20 years out. Some of them, as we call the low-hanging fruit, might be more accomplishable in shorter periods of time, but you can see those in the chart in the implementation plan within the plan. But if you have any questions, I'm available. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. I do have a couple of questions. If you could just brief, I know this is going to go in phases. 20 years is a long time to see the whole thing come to fruition. And so I'm just curious what kind of items are in phase 1 of this and how soon can we see some change?
Sure. Yeah, it will definitely take some time. And, the city is partnering with a lot of organizations such as the Chamber of Commerce, the Visit Lodi, the DBA. So it all depends on, as long as we get participation and buy-in from all those partners, it's really a public-private partnership. But there may be some things that are more simple to implement, such as wayfinding signage. Where is the parking garage? And is there a sign that says that? That might be something that's easy to implement. There are some other really big picture accomplishments that will potentially take much more time. For example, working with UPRR, the railroad, on the properties that they own, and acquisition of those parcels takes money. So, it's going to be finding funding sources and that sort of thing. Other items such as the corridor plan to improve Main Street will take several years, but there are some grant opportunities that are in the pipeline that we're looking at. So we're looking at applying for example, transformative climate communities, and it's a competitive grant application. So we may apply the first year, not get it, but we might get it in the second year or the third year, and then it might take another, few years after that to construct sidewalks and bike lanes and those sorts of things. So there's a lot of variable factors there. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to shoot us an email or visit the website. You can sign up for updates on the website on planlodi.com. If you scroll to the bottom, you can sign up for an email list, and you can get updates not just on the downtown plan, but any other items such as annexations, growth, general plan updates, housing element, environmental justice element, all of those kind of long-term planning topics. You can get updates and sign up for on the website.
Thank you so much. And one more question. Feel free to keep it as brief as you want or elaborate. But I was curious if the George Lawrence Park is going to be implemented into the downtown specific plan as part of the integration, or if it's a separate, do you know if that's a separate task with Parks and Rec?
Yes, it's not included within the area. It's just across the street from the downtown specific plan. Hill Park is within the downtown specific plan area, but Lawrence Park is not. It's just northeast of the plan area, so that would be more of a Parks and Rec question as to what would occur there. But there are concerning Hill Park, there are some high-level kind of concept plans for what could happen. Again, it would take Parks and Rec finding funding to implement those designs, and sometimes once we kind of get to the design stage, those concepts were perhaps really great inspiration, but sometimes funding sources come down the pipeline. For example, we could have like a fund to install bike lanes or a grant for bike racks, or so like we kind of these things pop up out of nowhere. Sometimes it's a surprise to us. Oh, look, Caltrans has funding, for a bike lane, and we might just go after that and apply for that, and that might be just kind of one of the boxes we check as we're going through. So we are keeping an eye out for everything. We have a team that works on grants, and we have a consultant that helps us kind of keep an eye on for grants coming down the pipeline. And then, private development is also, going to be a big driver of implementation of the plan. So we're working closely with economic development and our economic development director, Luis Aguilar, and really what are the crossovers and where can we leverage the city to work with private partners, to implement the plan and attract development to these areas.
And there's bicycle, I saw this on a social media page about public's concern about the parking, also part of the parking issue downtown. There is dedicated parking spaces for bicycles only, but there is no place to lock up your bike. So people are confused. Why is there a space that's taken up for bike parking, but we can't secure our bikes? Is there a plan to put in a lockable bike system in those spaces in the near future, or what are those supposed to be?
I don't think that's addressed specifically in the downtown plan. It might be more of a public works question, but I know there are bike racks in the downtown area. They're shaped sort of like a circle, and they say Bike Lodi on them. So expanding those could be, one of the options. I know those are kind of tied into the placemaking and wayfinding elements of the plan. So there could be a grant that comes down the pipeline where we, partner with Visit Lodi and Public Works to look at, expanding the ability for folks to bicycle and that sort of thing. There are within the plan information on bike routes and potentially expanding those and where we could, strategically place those sorts of things. But those will be fleshed out kind of as we start to implement the plan.
So those current biking parking spots they're not part of the downtown specific plan. They've just existed, and that's a public works situation.
They do analyze within the downtown plan bike routes and the bike system, but I don't know if they go into detail. I don't recall
About the spaces.
specifics about those.
Okay, thank you so much.
We need to kind of hold off on any more updates or anything until we have a quorum on the dais.
Should I take a public comment for that presentation?
Chair Davis, you can do that all at the end if you'd like.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. Thank you, Cindy, so much. So I'm going to move into our tasks, and I'm going to table Janavi and my downtown specific plan and information because we just got a whole bunch of that, and so I'm going to table that, and she's not here to compliment me on that subject anyway. We just got a lot of information about CDBG, which is item B, so we're going to table this as well, plus Genevieve is not here. Moving on to community well-being, we have Dawson and myself both working in the community with youth programs. That's our task label. However, I do have a couple of items that I've brought. I do want to mention before I get that's not an agenda item, so do I need to bring that in later?
Chair Davis, yeah, if it's not under the current activities, then you could just bring it up during the very end on the non-agenda items for the committee.
Well, it's kind of complicated for me to understand because we're working with the Youth Commission. We've partnered with Youth Commission. This is not on our agenda item, but it's just in general things we're doing with the youth. So I'm not sure how to address that.
Chair Davis, under Youth Opportunity, it says collaborating with Youth Commission on shared initiatives, so you can just share it under that one.
Okay, well, so the Youth Commission is hosting Bloom Fest is what they're calling it. It's an entrepreneur festival going to be held at Lodi Lake on April 19th. And what were the hours? It was 10 to 2, I believe. On the website for Parks and Rec is where you'll find more information on this. And there's going to be like face painting and crafts and kids with booths, and they're putting on this festival to promote the Youth Commission and to bring opportunities for youth entrepreneurship in Lodi. And Dawson, if you want to follow up with any more information on that, I think we're going to work on, we need to decide tonight if we're going to have a table with their event or if we want to just sign up. I did bring a volunteer sheet that was provided to me from Laura from Parks and Rec, who runs the Youth Commission. So we can either decide to volunteer as a committee on things that they already have happening at the event, or we can have our own table if we want to pass out literature on our committee in conjunction with what they're doing there. It is Earth Day themed, and so we have opportunity to take care of the environment and bring education.
Let's be aware of how many, so we don't create a quorum as well.
Be aware of how many of our members
Members.
attend and how many can attend. It's 3.
3.
Dawson, do you have anything to add on that item?
Not on that item, no, I'm good, thank you.
Do we want to decide who's going to attend that event at this point,
So my,
afterward? Okay, I just don't want to forget, so I want to come back to it. Do we have anything on, have you?
yeah,
anything lately?
for the youth gang prevention, I think I mentioned last meeting that I'm working alongside GRIP, the Gang Reduction and Intervention Program here in Lodi. I'm working with them through Bob's to provide job opportunities for kids to officiate youth sports. I think last meeting I said that there were 3 kids who attended the training. We have 2 of the 3 who completed all 3 trainings and have begun working and umpiring games at Salis Park. They're doing great, but that's all I have for that.
Thank you so much. Enhanced youth programs. I'm going to assume what I'm putting together has a lot to do with that. I'm putting together kind of a movement for teenagers in Lodi. And I've called it Once Upon a Vine. And this is something that I've been really thinking about for a couple of years now. And it's starting to come to fruition. And I'm starting to work with organizations such as 180 Teen Center has offered their collaboration efforts, as well as I've reached out to a few other members of the public that have similar resource avenues. And so I'd like to introduce Once Upon a Vine, and I don't have like a start date for this yet. I'm going to go to the Chamber of Commerce as well as the Downtown Business Association to see if we can collaborate on this movement. So it's going to be real stories, real direction is kind of my pitch. It's youth advocacy, career opportunities, and local business growth. And I'd like to go over it.
Chair Davis, sorry to interrupt, but do you have extra copies of this, or?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
And pass this one down. I'm going to take this one, give you my staple copy. this is something I'd really like to see implemented into the downtown business area especially. And the goal of it is to create advocacy for at-risk youth, kids who are of the teenage age to young adulthood that fall through the cracks, that don't necessarily end up in a college environment, or they don't have enough resources or foundational help to assist them apply for things that could help them receive careers that they actually want to do, things that they don't know that exist. So this is like a mentorship kind of program. And it also is going to include local businesses. So my goal is to, let me read through this because I'm kind of jumbling my words, trying to decipher it in my brain. The introduction is, Once Upon a Vine is a community-driven initiative designed to strengthen local economic growth while directly supporting youth through mentorship, exposure, and opportunity. The process will be building a strong community of youth advocates and local resources rooted in proven success stories and mentorship. Once Upon a Vine creates a cohesive platform for alternative career paths connecting vulnerable youth with real opportunities for success. Through connections, internships, scholarships, nonprofit partnerships, this initiative organizes existing community resources into a visible and accessible system. Once Upon a Vine operates as a monthly public event series hosted at rotating local businesses throughout the community. That's where the Chamber of Commerce and Downtown Business Association could come into play because I would need their collaboration and help. Each event features a vetted local business owner or professional who shares their path to success, challenges, and real-world insights. So a presenter would go into, say, a local cafe, and they would tell their story about how they got started and how successful they are now, and they're a local business, so it's going to bring exposure to their business while bringing money into the local business that they're hosting this presentation in. These events are designed to provide career exposure beyond traditional pathways, foster mentorship and community connection, create opportunities for internships and job shadowing, increase visibility for local businesses, support youth engagement, and prevention efforts. This is to give them motivation and inspiration to do things beyond what they imagine they can do. Oftentimes kids, especially those that don't have as much a good foundational home to learn from, or maybe they just need that guidance. They need that wing to be under. And so my goal is to provide that through this program. Once Upon a Vine serves as a bridge between local business success and youth opportunity. This initiative strengthens workforce development pipelines, small business visibility, collaboration, long-term economic sustainability. It will produce an annual published collection. So this is kind of the fun part of this, is that each presenter is going to contribute to an annual printout, a book of the stories of people who have become successful in Lodi and have rooted their businesses here. And they get to be honored in hopefully a published piece that would be a keepsake for our community. A 12-story compilation, if we can get one a month for a year, and I hope to do it annually. This publication will highlight local business success stories, promote economic growth, and serve as a lasting resource connecting youth in the community. And there's opportunities for collaboration with visibility and promotion, business participation, speaker referrals, venue hosting within the downtown district, alignment with workforce and youth initiatives, sponsorship, and long-term program development. Many young people are not reached through traditional academic or career pathways. Once Upon a Vine offers an alternative, one that is local, relatable, and rooted in real experience. By creating consistent access to mentorship and opportunity, this initiative aims to build a stronger, more inclusive future workforce while supporting local business growth. So that's something I've been working on and looking for partners. I don't know if this is visible, but I have a little logo I've developed, and so I'm excited to see how far I can get this.
Chair Davis, that's going to be attached to the minutes. Do you want me to leave your phone number on it?
You can,
Bless you.
you can provide my email.
Your email instead of the phone number that's on the, I was going to scan this copy in.
Oh, I did put my phone number. That's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, leave my phone number.
Okay.
That's fine.
Make sure.
I'm a small business when I use my phone number anyway, so
Okay.
yeah, go ahead. Okay, we have our next task would be animal services support. That would be, again, another thing that another item that Dawson and I collaborate on together. I know that they honored animal services recently, or is that tomorrow? Or did they do it in the last council meeting?
Chair Davis, I believe it's tomorrow. They have posted it on Facebook, though.
Thank you. I think I read the agenda and then I assumed it happened. But they will be honored tomorrow at the council meeting, Animal Services and all of the hard work that they do. I did request, I was supposed to receive a second batch on March 3rd of the code enforcement and animal services report from batch 2 was supposed to be on the 3rd. I've received half of the batch according to, I believe Maria or possibly Olivia was supposed to get back to me with that, but I'm still waiting for more information so I can do a compilation and create kind of like a statistical report on that. So if there's any poll or any guidance on how to get that information, I would love to be able to provide that to the public. I just don't know how to access it, as I've requested multiple times to receive that. So that's all. I don't have anything to add to the animal services other than that they're being honored tomorrow at council, and then I'm working on getting some statistics for the public. Moving on to item C, which is environmentally responsible community collaborations, and that would be Christine Tran, who is not here today, so I'm going to table that item. Number 3, we have community improvement, neighborhood quality and livability with Mono. And do you have anything to say today?
Yeah, I do. So I've been working with, I got on the east side, well, not just the east side, but on pretty much everywhere. I got a good collaboration with the partners, and I've been working with them to get vehicles that are abandoned, mostly in alleys on the east side, even there's some on the west side too. And I've got a good relationship with the partners, and I call them, and they've been coming out and doing their due diligence and taking care of situations with abandoned vehicles. So that's something close to my heart that I see, and I want to get them off the streets. And they're very cooperative with me, and they respond whenever I call them. So I just wanted to bring that out. So
I'm really glad you have that connection and you can see that through, and it's nice to hear you have things going on that you're doing. Any update on the traffic or roads, alleyway?
I know that I'm not sure about the timeline of when they're going to repair the alleys. Does anybody know? I think that's a Public Works thing, isn't it?
Correct. The alley improvements are part of Public Works, and they are doing one for this program year for CDBG, as well as they're likely going to be doing one for next program year as well. So with those projects, because they are federally funded, they do have to go through a vetting process and environmental, often tribal consultations and things like that. So sometimes that does take a little bit of time, and then they have to go out for bids for each of those as well. So that's why sometimes the timeline takes a little bit longer to get some of those projects going, but they do have 2 planned for alleyway improvements in the next 2 years.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mono. Do you have anything to add for the Lodi Committee on Homelessness? Any updates?
No, I don't have any updates on that. I'm sorry.
I know they had a meeting recently. I wasn't able to attend, so I was wondering if anyone was able to go and get updated on that. I got word that they would like us to attend one of their meetings and potentially speak. I will reach out to Lisa Hill and see about that. I think we've covered just about all your tasks, anything you have updates for, so I'm gonna table whatever else is on there for you for tonight. I'm gonna go on to, I do want to mention, we have Hector Soto here who has not been assigned a task yet. And is there anything, I think we can, I'll pop back over to you after this, and maybe we could figure out a placement for you on the tasks, unless you want to add a task. We can talk about that too.
Not going to add a task, but open to the town hall, and we can discuss that when appropriate.
Okay. Let's see. So we have city beautification, the art commission. I did attend the recent art commission meeting, and I have an update for everyone on that as well. They did an art hop over the weekend. I believe it was Saturday. They did an art hop. That takes place across from City Hall right here. There's an ice cream and art building. I'm new to learning what this all is, but maybe someone could fill in for me so I don't sound so foolish. But there is an art hop that takes place there, and there was one this weekend. And I don't have any update beyond that. They're talking about utility boxes, that there's a couple of painted utility boxes that are in a storage unit somewhere. They need places for those to go, or they would love places for those to go. They're painted and ready, they're just sitting. So maybe we can help them come up with locations that would like some beautification. There's 3, I believe, painted utility boxes looking for a home. There was an update on the Paint a Piano project brought to you by Chase Loeb, who owns Sela Music Academy. And so this year, the city approved 2 pianos in city locations, but they have 5 artists that have submitted work, and they get the pianos donated, so the pianos don't cost anything, and they have the artists. He's looking for locations to host 3 other pianos. In addition to that, he's looking for places that would host pianos year-round, not just seasonally, because when they get rained on, in the wet months, they get ruined and they have to dispose of the pianos and the art on them, and then they start over. It's not costing anything for the pianos, but it is contributing to the sadness of the art and the landfill. So he is looking for a permanent home so they don't have to keep repainting pianos, and they can become a permanent installation throughout the community and provide music and just community involvement and the music arts. So if anyone has anything, any thoughts on that, please attend the Art Commission meeting. I'm sure they would love insight or suggestions or opportunities for that. Nancy Mallor has continually expressed an interest in putting storm drain art at the corners of, I believe it's Eden and South Central. There's 4 storm drains that she has art ready to go. She has volunteers. I'm not sure what the setback is on getting the art on the ground. Jennifer, do you know anything about that?
I'm not familiar with anything in regards to that. My likely would be Public Works if they're trying to get something on a sidewalk or a street or a storm drain.
Okay, when I attend the next Art Commission meeting, I'll see if potentially they're interested in potentially partnering with our committee as well. I think we can get a lot done when we partner our committees together, but perhaps we can bring that to city agenda so that Nancy can see that through and get the art into that intersection.
And Chair Davis, maybe just a recommendation to bring forth, if the pianos are going to be outside, maybe partnering with a potential business or something like that can clear coat them so that they become weatherized and can still be out and enjoy it in the public, but don't get ruined.
I did mention that, like I said, maybe a lacquering, but he did say that it's not so much the paint. I mean, the artwork would stay there, but the keys themselves get ruined, and then they're no longer playable, and it defeats the purpose of having the pianos, aside from being a sculpture at that point. In addition to what they're doing, I brought to them a proposal in hopes to get it on their agenda. Another one of my crazy ideas. I give a copy to everyone here. Unfortunately, it's not available for the public to see at this point, but I will kind of reiterate what I've put together, and hopefully it'll be on the Art Commission agenda in May, and I'm waiting to hear. I did get some feedback that they're looking at how to implement that into their, we're going to talk about funding it through the Lodi Arts Foundation. So I had this concept of bringing pedestrian powder-coated steel sculptures to a corridor of South Central Avenue between Poplar and Vine. And I'm going to read about that so that everyone can kind of hear the concept. The South Central Avenue corridor beautification pilot was developed in response to the unique character and lived experience of this portion of Lodi. Unlike more formally designed corridors, South Central reflects a continuous pattern of everyday life, residential movement, school routes, work commutes, and neighborhood interaction. The project is inspired by the idea that the presence of people is itself part of the history of a place. Rather than relying on plaques or traditional markers, the design uses simple human forms to represent movement, continuity, that's a tough one, and community. The silhouettes are intentionally minimal and universal, allowing residents to see themselves reflected in the installation without assigning specific identities. Subtle placement along the corridor reinforces the idea of ongoing movement through time rather than a fixed historical moment. This is in the historical area of town. The east side of town is the original part of Lodi, and I wanted to bring some of that historical aspect into this artwork. A vibrant tropical color palette introduces warmth, energy, and positivity into the corridor, creating a welcoming visual identity while establishing a cohesive rhythm along the street. Approximately 1,050 feet, total installations would be about 10. Placement would be in the health strip. So we have homes with front yards, and then there is a sidewalk, and then there's what's called a health strip that is usually grass or city trees, and then you have the street. So these would go in those health strips, so they're not in someone's front yard and they're not in the street. Placing approximately about 115 feet apart from each other. I don't want them so far apart that they lose the concept, and I don't want them so close together that they're an entire distraction. I want them to be distributed evenly throughout this corridor. At constant intervals to create a visual rhythm. Each unit will be placed approximately 2 feet from the sidewalk edge, approximately 18 to 24 inches from the curb, outside of driveways, utilities, and tree root zones, of course. Anchor placements would be, so Poplar Street and Watson are two locations that deserve some memorial. And I don't want to coin them as that, but I do want to put a subtle nod to the pedestrians that came through that area. And so I put some sort of more personalized an aspect to that. They would be about 5'6" to 6'2", and about 18 to 30 inches wide, and they would be made out of a steel plate and finished with powder-coated paint, so that they would be, hopefully the idea behind this is that they would last a long time, not require a lot of cost for maintenance, because they're just going to be one color. They don't have a lot going on as far as super amounts of detail, but they would be stunning, I think. The colors would be tropical and bright and positive. And so I did an estimate cost per unit. It would be about $950 to $1,650 per pedestrian unit, totaling $9,500 to $16,500. The project is designed to be scalable and may be adjusted based on available funding. So say we can only afford 4 of them, or that's all they're willing to fund, then it would be nice to see 4 of them show up. If well received, the project may be extended south towards Kellerman Lane using the same spacing, design, language, and color system. This project enhances corridor identity, reflects community history, and supports pedestrian awareness through thoughtful, consistent design. The presence and rhythm of the installations may also contribute to subtle traffic calming effect by increasing driver awareness and reinforcing the perception of pedestrian activity along the corridor. So this has a multi-purpose to it. I do think that traffic safety is a large concern for Lodi residents and pedestrians alike, and in areas that, like, such as Central Avenue, where you have a 60-foot wide road and fast traffic, and not enough data or foot traffic to implement new infrastructural changes, I think art can be the way to kind of go out of the box and create beautification for the neighborhood, which is one aspect. Traffic calming, because there's a psychological process when you're driving in a vehicle and you sense something's coming into the street, that you're naturally going to slow up your vehicle and take your foot off the pedal, because your peripheral vision is instinctively feeling like something's going to come into your driving area. It's not obstructive, but it does create a calming. And so through studies, I've found that this would be a really good way to implement a traffic calming in the area while bringing beauty and historical elements. So in those 3 sort of groups, I figure this would be a really good project for the Art Commission and Foundation to take on, as they can only use their funding for public art. Certain types of funding are available. So this would be something that would potentially qualify under their public art grant money or funding abilities. So thank you for listening through that. And now I've lost my entire packet. Number 4, administration, transparency, and accountability, city council engagement. This will be all of us included in this task. And the goal, it has Janavi listed as the, to provide biannual updates to the Lodi City Council that includes status of goals and activities. Depending on who's on our committee, we need to kind of come up with who's going to be representing to city council, our, what would you say?
I think Genevieve also just was taking the lead on it.
Okay.
I'm sure she wants to, I'm sure she would love to partner.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't expect her to want to go up by herself and present to council. So, yeah, we should come up with a couple of us to go and present our goals and our accomplishments. Those were the words I was trying to come up with. Let's see.
Chair Davis, can I recommend maybe the next meeting, we actually put it on the agenda and have a more thorough conversation of exactly what you would like to see on the PowerPoint and things like that. That way you guys can kind of get that outline ready. That way whoever's the lead over it kind of has a starting point. And then if Janavi's over it, then she can email us like questions that she has for the whole committee, and then we can kind of coordinate from that end. But at least she has a basis outline to start the process.
Do we have a date on when we're presenting yet to city council?
I believe we were anticipating the second meeting in July at this point in time, so we would need to be getting the information pretty soon. That's why if we could get it on the May agenda to get the outline and then get it approved in June, then we can push for the July meeting.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. We should put that on the agenda and get rolling on that. I would love to have a presentation ready that's sound.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you. And then, last but not least, we have public awareness, and that is our town halls, Hector. So if you want to be on that task as well, it looks like we have Christine on there. Shortly before you joined the committee, we had just assigned all of these tasks and kind of came up with personalizing them and making them like more of what this newer committee is interested in seeing happen. And so I'm also happy to provide or to create a special meeting again once, you know, it makes sense, so that we can have more of like an intimate conversation about, you know, all of these tasks and make sure we're all still aligned on the same page and that we're still happy with our task goals and all of that. If we can put together maybe what month would be good to do another special meeting alongside or instead of?
Chair Davis, maybe a thought would be after the council meeting, so you can share it at the council meeting where it's maybe got a broader audience to say that a special town hall is going to be held on such and such date, just as an additional way to advertise that special meeting. So maybe in August or September or something along those lines, if that timeline works for you guys.
I don't know that I would be up for that. That sounds really stressful to do a council meeting and a special meeting all in the same day. I would like to have a special meeting.
No, sorry, I apologize. I'll clarify. If you book the special town hall for like August or September, then when you go to council in July, you could promote it. So you
I
can
see.
share with the community that.
That sounds fine.
That way you get more engagement, hopefully, with individuals coming out, because oftentimes there's a lot of individuals at council that maybe aren't familiar with LIC.
Sure.
And that's inviting them to that opportunity to go to a special town hall.
That sounds really reasonable, and I'd be open to that. So the town hall situation is we still don't have a location for town halls. I did come up with several potential opportunities that we can look into. And in the meantime, if you have anything you want to add to that, since you were interested in that topic, is there anything that you would want to share today on that?
No, not at this moment, but thank you.
I was really hoping you would, so that it would give me 30 seconds here. Town halls, found it. Okay. So my suggestions for locations that I was thinking about was there's the Japanese Hall. That's an empty building that people rent out. I don't know if that's something that's accessible to us as a committee. Is that city owned or is that privately owned? Japanese Hall is a private organization?
I believe it's private.
Okay. Has anyone ever had any success with holding town halls there as far as city buildings or city committees?
Not to my recollection, but I've only been here about 5.5 years, so I can't say that something might have occurred prior to me being here.
Okay, we could reach out and ask if they'd be willing to host that. Maybe there's some incentive for them there. especially since they're in the east side of Lodi, and maybe they could partake in it, and we can collaborate with them, and maybe they'd be willing to exchange a location for some sort of presentation by them at the Japanese Hall, potentially. I know that there's coffee shops downtown, Hutchins Square. Hutchins Square is free for committee meetings. I should reframe that. Is Hutchins Square buildings accessible to committee meetings?
We can potentially make a request if there's not already something booked for that date and time.
Okay, I know that's a popular place for a lot of committees, so it's like, there must be a reason. Okay. I was also thinking that maybe if we can work with the Chamber of Commerce, if we can get a booth at Farmers Market to gain exposure for the committee. Farmers Market, obviously street fair is coming up really quickly. I don't know that we would have time to plan any of that considering it's May 3rd, and that just seems kind of out of the question at this point, but maybe in the future. But a Farmers Market booth might be an option, just so we can stand out there and gain traction with the public. And there's people obviously that have concerns about parking in downtown, and it might be interesting to get some marketing of our commission that way. There's the Lowell Senior Center, the Access Center, and there's also a taco truck cook-off in September that the Art Commission puts on at Hale Park, which I was thinking might be an interesting collaboration as well, as far as getting in the community, because they're already going to bring the community there to eat tacos, so they're going to be happy and eating. So that might be a potential day to collaborate on.
Chair Davis, just a recommendation. I believe Lodi Committee on Homelessness was trying to attempt the same thing as far as being out there for one of the days, maybe seeing if you guys can share or co-locate, so that way you kind of have help setting up the booth and being there and that type of thing. That's just maybe something you can also talk to Lisa about if that's.
With the taco cook-off?
No, the farmer's market.
Oh, I was like, I think there's only one day of taco
No,
cook-off.
farmer's market, sorry.
But correct me if I'm wrong. I'm down for 2 days of tacos. Okay, so farmers market.
Yeah.
You're recommending to collaborate with them on a booth?
It was just a suggestion that if you guys didn't want to schedule your own time, maybe coordinate with them, so that way you kind of get the people there to be able to set up and be available to help assist with questions and things.
So long as it doesn't confuse the two committees, and then people go, well, I came to your booth at the farmer's market, and we're here to talk about, the unhoused, and which we can, but we're not going to be as, poignant to that. Okay. Is there any additional, how did everybody like those rainstorms and thunder and lightning situation? I wrote to Public Works Interim Director regarding the outages, because I wasn't sure if it was something that it seemed like a repeat problem, and I wasn't sure if it was something that the city was aware of as like a potential. So I did get some feedback from Public Works. And so that was reassuring that they'd go and they do scheduled checks on the equipment and everything. So it was more elaborate than that, but I'm not getting into the email because I don't want to make you wait while I find it. But I did reach out to Public Works, and they are on top of it. Do we have anything else anyone wants to add before we close for the evening?
Chair Davis, regular business for May and June. I know we talked about doing the presentation kind of outline. Do you want that to be the topic for May, or did you have anything else that you would want to bring forth as a presentation?
I don't know. I'd like to get input from the commission on that. Can you remind us what we're looking at? You're wanting to know what to put on the agenda for May, or?
Yes, for the May and June, usually there's either like a organization that'll present or information session or anything like that. We already did identify that we want the council presentation as a larger topic at the next meeting to be able to get that outline defined for that. So that conversation may be a lengthy conversation, but if you still wanted to also have a presentation on top of that from another organization, this would be the time that the committee could discuss and share that information with us so we can add it to the next agenda item.
Is that something that because I think when that comes up, when we get up here with our once-a-month meetings, we don't talk outside of this meeting, and so it's hard to really know, unless someone's really been working on getting potential speakers in here. Is that something we can add in later? I mean, obviously, we got people on the agenda mid-month. Is that something we can do?
Just email Carrie and I, and we're happy to get that added on at that time as well. Just as long as we at least have like a week or so heads up so that we can get it on the agenda. Because we do have to give the agenda to the city clerk's office the Wednesday prior. So we would kind of need to know the week before that.
Okay, and is that, so say like Hector has somebody, I have somebody, Mono has somebody, and then we all email you and say we have all these presenters. How does
If
that
we had
get
all those
worked out?
presenters, I would then email out to the committee saying, which one would you like to
Okay.
select?
Okay. I just don't want to overwhelm us. I don't want to close the opportunity, but I also don't want to be overwhelmed with the presentations.
Yeah,
So,
if we got multiple requests, then Carrie and I would send out an email to you guys saying that we've received 4 presentation requests. What is the vote on who would like to participate?
okay, that sounds good. Okay. Any other items or discussions we need to have? Who is on our commission currently, and do we have anyone else coming in? Is it just, we have one open seat?
I believe currently we have one open seat, yes.
Huh? I don't know that we've ever had it full.
Oh.
Yeah, so we have Christine and Janovi missing today, and then an open seat for, is Berta coming back to our commission?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we have one open seat for anyone interested in joining the improvement committee.
Bertha and Lisa were the 2 that had vacated their seats.
And is this available on lodi.gov to apply for the seat?
Under the Lodi Improvement Committee, correct. Yeah.
How do you go about doing that? Can you?
There's a link on that webpage. Either Carrie or I can send that out to the committee so that way you can guide people to that page to apply, if that's helpful.
Well, I know how to apply, but I was hoping that you could speak for the public to understand how to apply.
So when you go on lodi.gov, if you go to the Lodi Improvement Committee page, so it's under the government tab, you go click on that, and then it'll actually have a button that says apply to the committee, and they can apply it at that location. And then they can also email neighborhoodservices@lodi.gov if they have any difficulties.
And then how long does that process usually take? So say someone were to apply, what's the process?
It really depends on the availability because it is appointed by the mayor, so they usually like to do an interview with the individual that's applying, and so if they get multiple applications, it could take some time to coordinate those, so I wouldn't be able to say exact timing on that, but they usually try to get them filled when they can.
Okay. Do you know if there's anyone in the wings waiting to be interviewed?
I don't believe we received anything recently.
Okay.
So as soon as we receive it, they usually send it out to the mayor, and then they CC us on it once applications are received and being reviewed.
Okay. So Ramon Yepes would be the one to reach out to if someone's waiting for that.
Clerk's office.
Oh,
would be the one to
clerks.
Reach out to. Yeah, because they're the ones that coordinate everything.
So Olivia Nashad at City
Or
Clerk.
city clerk, there's the general email box, cityclerks@lodi.gov. Yeah.
cityclerks@lodi.gov.
Lodi.gov, yeah.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, with that, I'm going to adjourn our meeting.
We still have comments by the committee members.
I'm going to unadjourn our meeting. Are there any comments by the members? Okay.
Welcome, Hector.
Welcome, Hector. We are adjourned. We're so really organized.